What's up, guys? Mike Olson along with my partner Justin Moody. We are the Moody Olson team here in Las Vegas, and today we are bringing you the next video in our series of Vegas Versus. Today, this is a video we've been talking about doing for a while. It's a big one for us because there are a lot of people moving to Las Vegas from this particular area, so we've been really wanting to get into this one. We're doing Las Vegas versus San Francisco. To be honest, the statistics we pulled, it's Las Vegas versus the Bay Area, so it's going to be San Francisco and Oakland primarily. Those two areas are part of the San Francisco MSA. So let's get right into it. If this is your first time watching one of our Vegas Versus videos, I'll tell you a little bit about how we do this. What we do is we look at the two cities across 6 different areas. We compare them in all of those areas, trying to give you guys the best information, whether you're deciding to move from one of those cities to the other city, or if you live in some third place and you're debating between those two cities. We try to give you all the information that we can so you can make the right and informed decision for you and your family. We talk about the housing market, we talk about the job market, we talk about the cost of living, we talk about crime rates, we talk about dining and nightlife, and we talk about outdoor living and outdoor recreation. So let's get right into it, guys. We're gonna start off, as we always do, because we are real estate agents, we're gonna start off talking about the housing market. Justin, why don't you tell us what we have learned researching these two areas?
Not surprising. Really is not surprising. If you're from the Bay Area or if you follow real estate or anything about the San Francisco area, you know. Right now, the average home price is actually down about 7% in San Francisco. So what does that mean? Honestly, the homes are still really expensive.
Really, really expensive.
The average 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home is gonna run you about $1.2 million. Their inventory is very low. They have about 1.4 months of inventory. Homes there on average are on market for about 22 days, and the average is they're getting about 4 offers per home.
Wow.
Yeah.
22 days is very, very short.
Correct.
What are we at right now? 29, 30 days?
Yeah, ours is just a hair over 30 days.
Okay.
And our average home price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home is a little over $430,000. So there is a drastic difference. And again, we're from Vegas. We love Vegas. So I'm not afraid to boast about Vegas. You get a lot more for your dollar here, for sure, when you're looking to buy a home. The square footage in San Francisco, you think about that, 1.2 million. The average cost per square foot is almost $1,000 a square foot.
Wow. And so what's our average cost per square foot right now?
Just a hair over 200.
So what that tells you is not only are you spending obviously substantially more money, you're actually getting less house.
Yes.
So that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house is going to be smaller than the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that you're going to get here in Las Vegas, on average, of course.
Correct. So it's a lot less house for a lot more money. And then, and I don't want to jump the gun and get too far into it, but you know, you're not really getting what you pay for.
Right.
It just seems like it's really drug out. The price is just really exacerbates a lot of the issues that are going on with San Francisco. The Vegas market is also a very competitive market, obviously not as competitive as San Francisco area. Most homes here are getting between 1 and 2 offers, and they're usually right at asking or maybe a little bit below and have some negotiating room. Mm-hmm. But the market here is going to be much easier to crack into and get a lot more for your dollar.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we know that the housing market in Vegas is very hot right now. The housing market in San Francisco is also very hot. The difference is that we're actually somewhat affordable.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at our past videos, you can see that Las Vegas, as far as the Southwest and even the West Coast is concerned, we're really probably one of the better and more affordable markets to get into, especially if you're talking about what you can get for your dollar. Your spending power is usually a lot better here in the Las Vegas area than most cities in the Southwest and the West Coast, especially in places in California like San Francisco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about the cost of living between the two cities. So Justin told you about the difference in the cost of housing. I'm going to talk to you about the cost of living from a more holistic overall view of everyday life. We are going to touch a little bit about on housing as well. However, we're also going to focus on things like cost of food, cost of transportation, medical care, etc. I'm using the NerdWallet cost of living comparison tool, which I use for all of these videos. I am mixing it up a little bit though. If you guys have watched our videos in our Vegas Versus series in the past, what I've historically done is I've historically started with Las Vegas as the base city, and then I put the median household income for a household in Las Vegas into the cost of living comparison tool, and then I saw what did it spit out as far as the other city. However, we're always trying to improve. We're always trying to up our game, bring you guys better information, organize the information in a more digestible format, etc., etc. And so it occurred to me as I was doing the research for this video that I've been doing this backwards. And what I mean by that is, let's face it, guys, we're real estate agents here in Las Vegas. Our videos are primarily being marketed to people who are looking to move to Las Vegas, hence our video name, Moving to Las Vegas. So it occurs to me that we should be going at this from the other direction. So what I'm done for this video, and I'm going to do this for the videos moving forward, is I started with San Francisco as the base city. I did some research and I found out what the median household income for San Francisco is. And I put that information into the cost of living calculator so that I saw how much money it's going to, well, in this case, how much money it's going to save you moving to Las Vegas. Obviously, we want this video to get to you folks who do live in the Bay Area and you are thinking about a change. You are thinking about where are you gonna go if you want to get out of the Bay Area for whatever reasons you may wanna leave, whether it's the cost of living or any number of other reasons. So we're gonna show you how much money you could save by coming to Las Vegas. So with that being said, cost of living calculator is up in front of me. I have San Francisco as the base city. New city is Las Vegas. The number that we're using as our starting number is $129,315, which is the median household income in San Francisco. That is a very high median household income. And I think there's obvious reasons for that. San Francisco is a major tech hub and it is a major finance hub. So the fact that you have giant companies like Salesforce, giant companies like the various banking institutions that are there in that area, that is raising the median household income by quite a bit. Now, keep in mind, not everybody who lives in San Francisco works for those big companies and makes that kind of money. This is why it's a median, it's an average number. Some people make substantially less. Obviously, there are people who make more. Given all of that, if you live in San Francisco and you make $129,315, the median household income, and you move to Las Vegas and you want to maintain the same standard of living that you have in San Francisco, $75,224 is what you need to make. Not quite half, but darn near.
Almost.
Right? So it is a 63% lower cost of living here in Las Vegas than it is in San Francisco. Now let's break that down a little bit, guys. So first thing we're going to talk about is housing costs. Now, Justin already talked to you about the cost of purchasing a home. So I'm going to talk to you about just the cost of rent. The median 2-bedroom apartment in San Francisco rents for $3,862 a month, almost $4,000 a month. Wow. That same apartment in Las Vegas, $1,627. So that is a savings of about half.
And if you don't mind me interjecting, that $4,000 rent can get you a beautiful home on a golf course with a beautiful pool.
Oh yeah,
in Vegas.
Absolutely.
Not a 2-bedroom apartment.
No, wow. $4,000 a month is luxury, luxury living in Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
I mean, you pretty much have your pick. And I mean, to be fair, unless you have some special circumstance that requires you to rent, if you have the money to pay $4,000 in rent, you should be calling the Moody Olson team so that we can help you buy something and build equity with that money. Don't pay somebody else's mortgage, pay your own mortgage.
Yes.
Build equity, invest for the future. So moving on from housing costs, we'll talk a little bit about transportation costs. The transportation costs, not a substantial difference. Las Vegas is going to be about 14% lower. So these numbers are a little old, but they are indicative of the difference in the pricing between the two places. San Francisco, a gallon of gas is going to cost you about $4.90 a gallon, whereas Las Vegas, we're looking at about $4.16. We're almost always going to beat California on gas prices, and that's simply because California has much higher gas taxes. And then in addition to that, and I don't know if this is still true, I know this was true when I was a kid growing up in California. I don't know if you knew this. Part of the reason California's gas prices are so high is because the regulations in California essentially require that the gas that's sold in California be refined in California.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but I did not know that.
Well, it's because they have stricter regulations on what can go into the gas. Write it in the comments if I'm wrong. This is not my area of expertise. This is anecdotal evidence that I remember from my youth, but I seem to recall that the gas in California has to be made in California, and so you're dependent on the California refinery system to make that gas, which also drives the prices up.
Gotcha.
So moving on from there, food costs, we'll do some quick comparisons here. For a loaf of bread, you're looking at about 40 cents cheaper in Las Vegas. A gallon of milk is about 30 cents cheaper. See here, it says here a 12-inch Pizza Hut pizza is $15.69 in San Francisco versus $11.99. And I would actually say those numbers are probably drastically different now because of California's new $20 an hour minimum wage change.
That's true. But I don't know, because you have to bake your own bread, so I don't know if they count pizza crust as bread.
I don't think that they do.
Okay, because I know that
it's a good question.
Like
the Panera, yeah,
they don't have to pay that because they're a bakery.
That is true. I don't know if pizzerias fall under that rule. However, the point being is that if you're talking about fast food in general, California's higher minimum wage laws are driving the cost of fast food up substantially. I actually saw an article just the other day that people are really upset because In-N-Out has to raise the price on their double-double, which is really odd to me because, I mean, In-N-Out has always had some of the highest wages for fast food workers in the industry.
That's true.
But even they, in order to meet the new mandate of the minimum wage, they had to raise their prices. And I'm not here to comment on minimum wage law. We don't talk about politics on this channel. That's not our thing. However, we do talk about facts.
Yeah.
And facts are that California put into place a minimum wage law, which is driving up the cost of fast food. And that will be reflected, I'm sure, when these numbers on the cost of living calculator get updated at the end of the year. I'm sure that those numbers will be reflected.
Absolutely.
And then by way of example, a McDonald's quarter pounder in San Francisco costs you $6.91. Wow. $3.79 in Las Vegas, guys.
I'd be a lot thinner in San Francisco because I couldn't afford those prices.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to live in San Francisco, period. So let's move along though. Entertainment costs. So entertainment costs, looks like a movie ticket's gonna cost you about $3 more in San Francisco. A yoga class, which is the other metric they use here, is about $10 more, $16 versus $25. And a 6-pack of Heineken's about $1 more. Yeah, you're looking at a 29% decrease if you go to Las Vegas from San Francisco in your entertainment costs. And then healthcare costs. Wow, healthcare costs. Las Vegas is 31% cheaper than San Francisco for healthcare. Wow. A doctor's visit in San Francisco averages about $178 versus $109 in Las Vegas. A dental visit, $158 versus $96. Cost of an optometrist visit, it is $163 versus $96. And then the cost of Lipitor, it's only about a $30 difference that they use. That's the drug that they use to show the difference in pharmaceutical costs. But as you can see, going to the doctor, whether you're talking about the doctor, the dentist, the optometrist, whatever, substantial increase in prices. Yeah. So guys, we're not telling you anything that you shouldn't have known. If you have any common sense coming into this video, the cost of living in San Francisco is absolutely through the roof. It's much, much higher than the cost of living here in Las Vegas. So if you are looking to move here, if you're in San Francisco, just know you could take a pretty substantial pay cut, move into Las Vegas, and still have the same standard of living that you have there in the Bay Area. Yeah. But let's move right along, guys, on to our next topic, Justin.
So how are we going to be able to afford all that? And how do people afford all that in San Francisco? Well, you know, I want to talk about some of the larger employers in Las Vegas and kind of compare them to larger employers in San Francisco. Now, in San Francisco, I was shocked that, you know, you had mentioned Salesforce. I thought they would be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not. Actually, the number one employer, same one in Los Angeles, Kaiser Permanente.
Yeah, they're huge.
Huge. I mean, they have over 46,000 employees in the San Francisco area. And this is coming from the San Francisco Business Times. So, I mean, this is a local publication. Then you have Sutter Health, and then, of course, Meta is out there as well, and then Wells Fargo in the top 5. So, like Mike talked about, you definitely have a lot of tech out there and banking, but also healthcare is out there. And it's a big, substantial driver in their workforce as well. Actually, the number 5 kind of surprised me.
I like how for Meta, it just has the website as Facebook.com. that's the website given for the company. That cracks me up.
And then the 5th largest employer kind of threw me off. It's Safeway, the grocery store chain.
Interesting.
So
do they have a large distribution center there?
They must, because they have almost 14,000 employees working in the San Francisco area.
Yeah, that's not just grocery stores. There's got to be some distribution or some packaging or something there.
Yeah. Now, versus Las Vegas, you are going to have kind of a different workforce. The largest employers are still going to be the gaming, the casinos, hospitality industry. Now, a lot of people kind of get that mixed up. Just because you're in the hospitality industry in Las Vegas or in gaming industry doesn't necessarily mean you're dealing blackjack or poker or handing out cash at slot machines.
There's a ton of back-end workers.
So many things on the back end. Some really high-end paying positions in the back end. Marketing, accounting, business management, promotions. There's so many different things on the back end of that. So when we say that hospitality or gaming is, still the #1 employer in the Las Vegas area, there are so many different careers lumped into that. Maybe at one point we can break that down for you. So that's obviously going to be one of the major employers in Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is constantly evolving. It's constantly changing because we are a fast growing city and because we're getting so many people from different places. It really draws in, we kind of talked about in our last video, the spirit of entrepreneurship.
It really does.
Oh my gosh, there are so many great small businesses here in town that have started. Nevada is a really easy place to start a small business.
Very small business friendly.
Yes, very small, very affordable. So you see a lot of great mom and pops. You see a lot of great startups. We're seeing a lot of tech out here. We have Switch, which is a huge data storage company.
Right. So let's talk about that real quick, right?
Yeah.
Because we're doing a San Francisco video, so we're talking to you guys who live in the Bay Area. A lot of you guys are probably tech workers.
Yeah.
You may not know this, but Las Vegas has a very rapidly growing, burgeoning tech scene.
Yes.
So if you're coming from the Bay Area and you want to get out of the Bay Area for whatever reason you may want to leave, whether it's just the cost of living, you want to change the scenery, you're sick of the traffic, whatever it is, you should take a look at Las Vegas because we do have a lot of tech companies that are either relocating here or being founded here, such as Zappos, such as Switch. We have a lot of these companies that are growing rapidly here, and it's a hungry workforce for tech workers.
Absolutely.
And again, you may not make quite as much money as you made in San Francisco, but you don't need nearly as much money to have a really high standard of living here in Las Vegas.
And have a lot more spending power with you, the dollars that you do take home.
Absolutely.
'Cause remember, and Michael always touches on it, and I'll touch on it too, no state income tax.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saving about, what is the California state income tax right now? 13%? 7%?
Something horrifying.
Something between 7 and 13%. So you're automatically going to save that out of your paycheck. Las Vegas is also a great place to work from home. Mike and I personally know and have worked with people who work from home that have been able to relocate.
It's funny you say that because we're literally sitting, this green screen room that we're in right now is in my home office. Correct. In my house here in Las Vegas. This is where I do all of my work. Yep. Is from right here. I have a home office. Justin has a home office. We did have an office at the real estate brokerage and we're getting rid of it because it's just an unneeded expense. We can do everything that we need from our homes. And when we need to be together, we just link up together. Usually Justin comes over here. I have a little more space in my office. Come sit to get down over here. We get all of our work done. And on the off chance that we need to meet a client or something like that, we can still meet them at the brokerage. We can still use the conference room at the brokerage to meet with them. Or more likely, we're just going to meet them at a Starbucks. Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's a great work from home area. But not only do we have, obviously, the hospitality and gaming, tech is a big thing here. Medical. The medical field out here is just growing like crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
Vegas is really transforming itself to become kind of a medical tourism area.
It really is.
You have lots of cosmetic surgeons, cosmetic dentists, different types of specialty doctors coming to the Las Vegas area. It's a less expensive place for them to practice, and there's a high demand for it.
Yeah, and don't let anybody tell you that Las Vegas doesn't have good medical care. I know that myth exists out there, and I've said this in videos before, and I'm going to keep saying it because it really irritates me. There are people out there who know Las Vegas from 20, 30 years ago, when Las Vegas maybe didn't have the best medical system, right? It's not 20, 30 years ago anymore, guys.
Agreed.
Las Vegas has made huge strides to build brand new hospitals, highly ranked facilities that are recognized nationally for all sorts of different programs. Las Vegas has great medical care, guys, and anybody who tells you otherwise is either lying to you or they're sadly misinformed. So don't listen to that. Do your own research. If you want to know more about it, feel free to reach out to us. Our email is down below. We have a phone number in the description. Give us a call. We'll be happy to tell you about it. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have about the Las Vegas area.
So there's plenty of work out here. Like Mike said, this is a really hungry job market, and it's only expected to get better. US News and World Reports and Forbes both are predicting Las Vegas job market to grow anywhere from 15 to 22% over the next 3 years, guys. So that's a huge, huge growth in the job market, and that's just gonna drive wages up because it's gonna become very competitive. And so you can still get in now on the ground floor with the housing prices being as low as they are, especially if you're coming from the San Francisco area. So Mike, let's talk more about San Francisco.
All right, well, here's the topic that we never like to talk about, but we always feel the need to cover it for you guys.
Absolutely.
We're gonna talk about the crime rates. And in this particular case, I'm gonna tell you, Las Vegas comes out looking pretty good.
I would imagine so.
We're using the US News crime statistics. They rate crime rates for metropolitan cities all over the United States. And we'll start with San Francisco. On a scale of 1 to 10, San Francisco gets a 6.7. They have a higher crime rate than other similarly sized metropolitan areas. And we'll just talk about those numbers a little bit. So what they do is they give you the number of crimes per 100,000 people. So that is the breakout that they use. And we go with violent crime and we go with property crime. So for violent crime, San Francisco has a higher than average crime rate of 696 crimes per 100,000 people. And they have a property crime rate that is a staggering 6,245 per 100,000 people, which is the highest I've seen in any of these videos by a wide margin. And so by way of comparison, guys, Las Vegas is rated 8 out of 10 by US News Report. We have a lower crime rate than similarly sized metropolitan areas. And our violent crime rate is lower than San Francisco's at, so they were at 696 per 100,000. We're at 517 per 100,000.
So almost 200.
200 less, yeah. So a pretty substantial decrease. However, that's nothing compared to the difference in property crime. So again, San Francisco had 6,245 property crimes per 100,000 people, and we are at less than half that.
Wow.
At 2,924. So we don't need to belabor the points. Las Vegas is a substantially safer city. Whether you're talking about violent crime, whether you're talking about property crime, it doesn't matter. And I've seen, and I don't want to beat up, like we've made our point, but just, I've seen news where there are certain areas of San Francisco where people just leave their windows of their cars down
so they don't get broken.
because they just, if your windows are up, somebody's going to break them just to reach in and grab anything in the car. So people just leave everything open. Like,
it's almost like they've given up.
It does feel that way in some ways. But I can tell you, I would not choose to live someplace personally where I had to leave my car completely open and empty of any of my personal belongings for constant fear. And I've seen videos on the news. I mean, I've seen like this reputable news sources where people are literally running up and smashing your back window out to grab your bag while you're at a stoplight. Like, guys, be safe out there. That's all I'm saying. If you want to live somewhere that's got a lower crime rate, think about moving to Las Vegas.
And think about using the Moody Olson team.
Yes, absolutely. Think about using the Moody Olson team.
Well, let's talk about something that's not as depressing.
Oh, please, let's move on from that nonsense.
Let's have a good time. You've been to San Francisco.
I have been to San Francisco. It's actually, I very much enjoyed the time I went there as a tourist.
Yeah.
I would say actually the Alcatraz tour, I have the book that I bought over here on my bookshelf. The Alcatraz tour is one of like my all-time favorite things I've done while being a tourist.
I've been as well, and I absolutely enjoyed myself. It is a great place to visit. And again, I've said this in other videos, great place to visit, but necessarily wouldn't want to live there. San Francisco has a great entertainment scene. The locals know where to go. There's great spots for tourists, and obviously if you're going down to the pier, you're going to the Alcatraz tour, you're probably not living in San Francisco. San Francisco has, a great history with wine because you're very close to wine country. So there's going to be a lot of great festivals around wine and food in San Francisco, and that's where you're going to find the locals. Obviously, they're going to have, a mix of different types of nightclubs because it is such a culturally diverse city.
Right.
So you're going to be able to find lots of different types of nightclubs and restaurants in San Francisco as well. Unfortunately, doing my research, I did find that a lot of these festivals and a lot of these, events that are supposed to be, great events for the public and people who live there are marred by violence and protests.
Right.
Or just being taken over by homeless. So that, that kind of puts a negative light on that, and they've actually seen a large decline in some of those outdoor events that they do and those public events that they do because of that. So on the opposite side, Vegas has great festivals and events, both indoor and outdoor, on the Strip and away from the Strip. Great places for people who are visiting and tourists to go, the nightlife scene, the bars and the restaurants and the clubs on the Strip that are really focused towards the tourists. Mike and I aren't big on that type of stuff. Sometimes we do enjoy a restaurant on the Strip every now and then because, why wouldn't you? They're amazing. But as far as the clubs and the nightlife, not really our scene, but I mean, you just have to ask anybody. It's pretty much unrivaled throughout the world.
Yeah, we say it all the time, guys. Las Vegas is absolutely unbeatable when it comes to the nightlife scene. I will put Las Vegas up against any city in the world, because what other city in the world can you go hear a nationally renowned DJ 7 nights a week?
Yeah.
You can go see nationally renowned shows 7 nights a week. We get headline concerts here every single weekend. And when these big headliners, when they're tired of the road, they come to Vegas and do a residency.
Yeah, for 3 or 4 months at a time.
Yeah, you can come see them whenever you want for cheaper than you're going to pay if you're going to go see them in the local venue there in your hometown. It's going to be cheaper here in Vegas because their costs are lower. They don't have travel costs. They have a ready audience coming to them every single night.
And it's usually a smaller venue, so it's a more intimate show.
Typically it is, yeah. So we're completely unrivaled when it comes to that nightlife scene. I don't care what city you're talking about. There's other cities who have their own nightlife scene that is obviously worth talking about. San Francisco is definitely one of those cities, as are any major metropolitan area is going to have a scene that's worth checking out. Whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's San Francisco or Chicago or New York or Miami, you name it. One of the things that I will say, in my opinion, that San Francisco does have a pretty good leg to stand on when you want to compare them to us, is San Francisco is an amazing dining scene.
Okay.
Their food scene, particularly their Asian food scene, but their food scene just in general, absolutely fantastic. I'm not saying it's as good as ours, but I'd say that it would be a pretty good battle.
Okay.
If you really wanted to go apples to apples on their dining scene, they have a lot going for them. We have just as much going for us here. It's going to be cheaper, and it's going to be a whole lot less traffic getting there. Like, you have a lot of reasons to prefer Las Vegas over.
I'd be curious. What's your favorite restaurant or cuisine in San Francisco versus what's your favorite restaurant or cuisine here in Vegas? I'd be curious. Comment down below. Mike and I would like to see that, and maybe we can talk about it in a future video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike and I really like to take advantage of what Vegas locals, if you're living here in Vegas, the things that a Vegas local do. Mike and I really enjoy that, and I'll let Mike talk about golf in a little bit, because he always does. But they're great festivals here. We have great fairs. We have great food festivals. They have the Foodie Festival every year. I love going to that. You'll have 30 to 60 different vendors out there depending on the year. I mean, last time I went, I think there was 48 different vendors. And I mean, they were from all over the country. It was amazing, the food. But there's just so many great bars and pubs and places to go spend time. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were at a great cigar bar. They had great drinks, great cigar selection. They had a huge humidor. And I didn't get a chance to try it. Mike did. They looked like a pretty solid pizza option as well.
Yes, and it is quite tasty.
Yeah. So, that's not something, if you're visiting Vegas, that's not something you're really going to go check out because it's a ways away from the Strip. But if you live here in Vegas, that's definitely something you're going to try. I promise you, whatever you're into, Vegas probably has it, and they probably have it at a really high level. So I would say nightlife and entertainment here in Las Vegas, hands down, you're not missing anything. You've got professional sports. You've got both the pro level and the minor league level. We were just talking a couple of videos ago about how great the minor league stadium is here in Summerlin, top rated stadium in the country for minor league baseball. We have hockey, we have lacrosse, we have baseball coming, we probably have basketball coming, and of course you have the Raiders here in town. Even if you're not a Raiders fan, I know I'll be talking to some of you guys in San Francisco. Some of you in Oakland might still be hardcore Raiders fans, but you know what? They do draw a good crowd when they get a road team as well. So maybe your Niners are coming into play. You'll be able to check them out as well.
It's crazy. Back in my previous life, when I was working as a government contractor, I actually had to do some work at the Air Force Base there just outside of the Bay Area. And so I flew into the Bay Area, and I flew in, I want to say, on a Saturday. And there was a Raiders game, the next day here in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And the airport, and it wasn't like they weren't playing San Francisco, they were just playing some random team. The airport was absolutely filled with people in Raiders gear flying to Las Vegas. So I don't know if that's something that happens every single home game, if a whole bunch of Bay Area locals fly to Las Vegas to go watch the Raiders play, but it certainly seemed that way.
Well, the Raiders are definitely one of the most well-traveled teams as far as their fan base is concerned.
Right.
That fan base does travel very well.
Right. So I was impressed by the dedication of those guys for sure.
Absolutely.
But moving right along, guys, we're going to wrap this thing up as we always do, talking about the outdoor living, outdoor recreation aspect of things. Obviously, it doesn't take a genius to realize you're talking about two very different cities.
Oh yeah.
When you're talking about outdoor living, right? So when you talk about San Francisco, of course, you're talking about an ocean-based city. You're talking about a city that's on the coast. So you're going to have all of the coastal amenities available to you. Now, all of this stuff may not be in San Francisco or the Bay Area proper, but a lot of things that I'm going to talk about here are just a short drive.
Yeah.
Of course, you have surfing, right? There's big wave surfing up in the Northern California area. Very, very famous. Is it Mavericks, I believe is the name of the break? They actually made a movie about it. That's not very far from the Bay Area, very famous big wave surfing location. You're gonna have all the other things associated with having the water right there. So you're gonna have sailing, you're gonna have fishing, you're gonna have things like paddle boarding and just the day at the beach. Now it is gonna be a very chilly day at the beach.
Yeah.
The water in that part of the part of the country, very cold. And I know this from previous experience because I used to live actually just south of there in a little place called Monterey.
Little place called Monterey.
Yeah.
You might have heard of it.
May have heard about it in a in a song or two or a book. If you read some John Steinbeck, absolutely loved living there. Loved going down to the beach. Almost never went in the water because it is freezing cold.
Yes.
So you do have ocean sports up there in the Bay Area. Of course, you're gonna have to buy a wetsuit probably, unless you're just a very hardy soul.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about Justin and my absolute favorite thing to do outside, which is play golf.
Yes.
The Bay Area is a great place for golf. Maybe not in San Francisco proper, although there is some golf there in San Francisco proper, some very historic and legendary golf courses there, right? But chances are you're gonna get a little bit outside the city, you're gonna go inland, or you're gonna go south a little bit. Of course, you've got tons of golf all over that area. You're not far. You're easy driving distance from wine country, which is also golf country. Just down the road, about 2 hours, you go down to Monterey, which is, I would argue, the greatest golf destination in the entire world. That's where you have Pebble Beach. That's where you have Spyglass and Spanish Bay. And then you have places like underrated places like the Pacific Grove Municipal Course, which is the poor man's Pebble Beach, right? You have Bayonet and Black Horse, which are two absolutely phenomenal courses that used to be part of the old Fort Ord Army base. When the base was closed down due to the BRAC, the base realignment and closure system that shut that base down, those courses were sold to the city of Seaside, who poured millions and millions of dollars into turning them into absolute premier facilities that have hosted LPGA events, PGA qualifying school events, you name it, those courses have done it. So golf in the Bay Area or Bay Area adjacent, absolutely phenomenal.
And it is going to come with a higher steeper price.
But you're going to pay for it. Yeah. You are going to pay for it. I don't know what it's like to get a tee time up in the Bay Area per se. I know what it's like to get a tee time down around Monterey. And it's not particularly arduous. It takes a little bit of planning. The Bay Area being a huge metropolitan area with a really large population, I'm sure that it takes a little bit to get a tee time. But that's just me guessing. So guys, if you know, feel free to leave a comment below, straighten us out here. Tell us what it's like if you're a golfer, you live in San Francisco. What's it like golfing in San Francisco? I know there's some courses up there I would love to play, but I don't have a lot of experience with it.
Luckily, we have a lot of experience with the golf courses here in town.
We do have a lot of experience with the golf courses here in town. And let me tell you, Las Vegas is a fantastic golf city. If you can handle the heat, I would say that's probably the biggest drawback is the heat, right? And we have friends, Justin and I, we're pretty hardy souls. We'll get out and golf in just about any conditions. I'm not big on golfing in the rain, but that's not much of a worry here.
Yeah, not much of a worry.
Yeah.
As long as there's no lightning, I don't mind.
Right. But that being said, I mean, I've definitely golfed in 100+ degree weather many times. It doesn't bother me. Just find a tree to park under while you wait to take your next shot.
Plenty
it's not
of
a big deal.
sunscreen and water.
Plenty of sunscreen, plenty of Gatorade. Maybe not a few less Bloody Marys.
Maybe a few.
But yeah, golfing in Las Vegas, very awesome experience. We have tons of great golf courses, very reasonably priced. Most of our golf courses can be played for under $100 if you're a local resident. We do have the courses that are more expensive. I mean, if you want to go play TPC Summerlin, or if you want to go play, you know, Bali High, I mean, you want to spend a few $100s on a round of golf, you definitely can. But you certainly don't have to. We have tons of fantastic courses. Matter of fact, Hey, editor, make sure you put that video right there. We just told you guys about our favorite budget courses under $100. And I can tell you what, not a single course on that list feels like a budget course.
Yeah, and we have actually a Jack Nicklaus designed signature course that I'm going to be taking to you very soon that plays for under $100.
Yeah, absolutely. Coyote Springs, right?
Coyote Springs. It's a beautiful course. It's considered one of Jack's finest desert courses, and that's placed for under $100. So I would say the golf scene here is that Vegas can be definitely a golf destination. If you're a golfer and you're living in Vegas, you're going to be very happy with your options.
Absolutely. So moving on from golf, we want to touch on some other things. Obviously, we've told you guys in the past, Las Vegas is a great city. We have lake sports. We have Lake Mead here. So all the things that you can do on a lake, water skiing, fishing, wakeboarding, etc. We have all of that available. Get a houseboat, go out and camp for a weekend on the lake. People do that all the time. It's a fantastic time. The Bay Area, their other activities are a little different. It's a great cycling area. Maybe not downtown San Francisco per se, but cycling around the Bay Area, very, very popular. I used to be part of a cycling club when I lived in Monterey. I know that's a couple hours down the road, but I know that cycling is extremely popular in the Bay Area. There's a lot of great roads for that scene. There's also a lot of great places where you can go hiking, as far as you have tons of national parks and state parks all over the north central California area. Of course, we already talked about, or I mentioned briefly, that you have wine country right there and everything associated with wine country. I would say that there is a absolutely phenomenal outdoor scene in the Bay Area. Just depends on what you're looking for. Yeah. I don't think it's less of a comparison as to say, oh, one city's better than the other. It's just like, what are you into? What do you enjoy doing in your time outdoors? Chances are there's going to be something for everybody in both of these areas. I don't think that either one of them is lacking when it comes to opportunities to get outside and do fun things.
Yeah, and if I can mention, I mean, if you're a cyclist or if you love the wine country, Vegas is going to be a lot different from you. But there is a burgeoning cycling community here. If you've seen our video on Southern Highlands, you'll notice on almost all the streets in Southern Highlands, they've installed bike lanes, because if you go down there on a Friday afternoon or Saturday or Sunday morning, you're going to see dozens of people out there cycling.
Sure.
And just a short, hour and 10-minute drive over the hump in Pahrump from Las Vegas, you have 2 wineries. Obviously, it's not going to be like wine country.
It's not Napa.
It's not Napa. But it is, again, it's something that that's becoming very popular out here. And they have their own brands of wines and their own tasting rooms and their own tours and environments. So that's something that, maybe on a smaller scale, but it's still something that you can enjoy if that's, a big part of your life. And then every time somebody mentions it, and I want to start challenging more people to it. Well, California has the beach. California has the beach. Mike and I lived in California for 20 years, roughly, right? Each.
Yep.
I love the beach. I'd go to the beach 2-3 times a year.
Maybe a few more than that when I was a teenager, but as an adult, I mean, heck, I lived, actually, like I said, I grew up in Southern California, lived in Monterey for almost 4 years, and when I lived up there, man, I could probably count on both hands the number of times I went to the beach over a couple of years. Yeah. That's going down to, like, when I say go to the beach, I mean go down and sit on the sand, as opposed to just being in the vicinity of the beach because we're at a restaurant near the water.
Well, let me ask you this. What are you doing next week or 2 weeks from now?
I'm going to Southern California with my family for our family summer vacation, where we have a day at the beach.
Exactly. So unless, the ocean and the beach are just a major part of your lifestyle, it's something that you're doing weekly or daily, you're only 4 hours away. 4.5 maybe with traffic.
Obviously, if your passion is surfing.
Yeah.
We're probably not the place for you.
We're not going to win that one.
Right.
But I mean, if you like to vacation at the beach, if you want to go, you want to wake up on Saturday morning and go spend Saturday evening on the water, you can do it.
Sure. Absolutely.
So don't think just because we're inland that you don't have easy access to the beach. It's only a 4.5 hour drive.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. All right, guys, we are going to wrap this thing up. This video has gone pretty long. Obviously, we had a lot to say here. So let's hit you guys with the outro. Guys, if you're moving to Las Vegas next week, next month, or next year, make sure you hit up the Moody Olson team. All of our contact information is in the description below. I promise you that nobody is going to work harder for you. Whether you have a home to sell or you're looking for a home to buy, we're here to help you out. We are a full service real estate team. We can help you out with anything that you guys need. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever we put out a new video. We put out 2 videos a week of the best Las Vegas real estate based content that we can. We try to make sure that you guys have all the information you need to make the right decision for you and your family when it comes to buying a home, choosing a neighborhood, finding a place to go eat, or finding a place to go play around at golf. We talk about all that stuff here on our channel, constantly putting out new content, so you're gonna wanna follow along with us. And if you're thinking about buying a home and you don't know what you can afford, reach out to our good friends and our lending partners, Steve Schauer and Linda Vo with Security National Mortgage. We have their information in the description below as well. They're the best in town. They've been doing this for well over 20 years. They can answer any questions you have. They can tell you what rate you qualify for. They can tell you what number you qualify for. If you don't qualify for what it is that you would like, they're gonna help you find the path to get there. They're gonna help you figure out what are the steps you need to take in order to get that credit score up, in order to qualify for that loan, in order to qualify for that rate, whatever the case may be. Steve and Linda are here to help you out, guys. Make sure you reach out to them. Tell them that the Moody Olson team sent you. And until next time, guys, I'm Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we're out of here.